Hail, everybody. Welcome to a Celtic World Podcast, North America. I'm your temporary host, Chris from Bell Buckle, Tennessee. And joining us today is Sean Finn from the Pittsburgh CSC. Hail, Sean.
Hail. Great to be here.
Yeah. So Sean Brennan, he's got some thunderstorms going through his area at the moment, and he lost power there. So we hope that he will join us here shortly. But it's great to have you on, Sean. You doing okay? Everything good?
I'm doing well. Yeah, trying to survive this incredible heat that we've been experiencing for. Oh, it's unreal.
Yeah. So
makes me want to be in Glasgow right now.
Well, I haven't looked up what the temperature is in Scotland today.
I think it was like only in like the 60s. So.
Oh man.
Yeah. That sounds like heaven.
Absolutely. A little bit of rain too.
Yeah.
Something
exactly.
you just kind of hang out with. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So
for sure.
I've got to formally apologize to you for not making it to Pittsburgh for the Fela earlier this year. I had anticipated.
Hey.
Johnny boy, there he is.
Hey, he's back.
Fuck! I mean, literally.
Welcome back.
Hey, John.
Couldn't have timed it better.
All right.
Absolutely.
Chris was just telling me how upset he was for missing the Fela in February.
Mm.
And believe me, Chris, we really, really missed you.
Oh, definitely.
I was super.
No, go ahead. I'm just looking up something on my phone. I gotta get trying to get sorted here.
Yeah, I was super looking forward to you being there, but I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, it just situations in life and that kind of thing, and I know at some point I'm going to be in Pittsburgh and everything's going to be good. So
absolutely,
just something for the future for sure. But
yeah, I cannot wait to have you here at Cork Harbor for a match.
Yeah,
what's the crack?
What's the capacity of that place? Because that, like, in the pictures, it looks like, and for anybody that doesn't know, the Pittsburgh CSC on their website, the pictures after every match and everything, and it seems like it holds, I don't know, 200, 300 people, and it seems like it's wall to wall supporters every single match.
Well, so it's kind of like separated. There's like a front bar, then there's a kind of a middle like sitting area with some TVs, and then there's a back bar. I think for the Fela, yeah, I mean, what, 200, 250, something like that. Like that's really pushing it capacity. They also had an outdoor tent that they had set up in preparation for St. Paddy's Day. Which was really cool because they had TVs and bartender outside as well. So it was a good setup. There was plenty of room, I think, for what we were trying to do.
That's awesome.
I was slightly concerned, but I would say for like an average match day, we take up like the whole front bar. For big matches, that's going like all the way back.
Right on.
It's nice to have that place they got.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good sized bar. Back that, like, I didn't like, because when I was there for the first day, I don't think I ventured back into the back bar. So when I went back there the next day, I'm like, oh wow,
yeah,
I had no idea because they had the breakfast back there and stuff on the match day. But yeah, you guys, it was an amazing job.
Thanks. I was so like nervous about it. Because it was just
I remember talking to you.
A lot of prep, and I'm like, please let this be successful, and it exceeded my wildest expectations for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great to have you there.
Yeah, I had a blast. But yeah, guys from everywhere too. Like I'm thinking like John Neeson came from Hawaii. Like
Big John.
I mean, and all the
very cool.
Canadian folks, good sized Billy Crow, Columbus guys, like
Yeah, Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
Who else? I had some friends from Scotland. We had some people from Ireland. It was really awesome. Yeah. Who else? Some people from out in California.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was,
yeah.
it was
Yeah.
a lot of different folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was that guy. I mean, we remember Chris a couple years ago, probably like one of our first Baileys we were doing in Philly when we were drinking in the hotel with the Johnny Walker Green, like late at night. I think it was that guy from LA. Like he
Yeah,
showed up for it too.
I don't. Yeah, we just randomly were walking back to the hotel at like, I don't know, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and just from across whatever big street that is there in Philly, we're just singing hail hail and whatever, and we're just going back and forth, and we're walking back to the hotel, and we hadn't talked to him at all at the Plow. I hadn't spoke 2 sentences to these guys, and we're in the elevator, and they're like, "Let's go back to the hotel and get a drink." So we go into their room, and like their other buddies like pass out asleep, and then he breaks out this unopened bottle of Johnny Walker Green Label that he's had for I don't know how many years or whatever. He's just like, yeah. I'm like, there's not another chance that I'm going to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's kind of like what going to Fela's are all about. Whether it's in Pittsburgh or Philly or wherever.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that it just goes to show, just the pool that just wanting to be around other, Celtic supporters has for us. My expectation was that, the people that I personally know will try to come out, but like there was a ton of people that I didn't know that came out for the event and, to help us celebrate. So it really, I hate to say this, but like I was, talking a little bit, I think on Friday night, or maybe it was Saturday afternoon or whatever, but just like the moment got to me, and I like, shed a tear just thinking how like awesome this is, to be around all these people that love this team that I love, and that want to be around and share, common, ideals and stuff like that. And it was fantastic.
That's awesome.
I think that's what it's all about for us, especially like, cause like we don't have the stadium right by our house where we can meet up with all our pals. So like those moments are like, I mean, and like you said, it means the world to me. Every time I can do it, I'm gonna, try to make it happen to as far as I need to go to, see the guys and, watch Celtic, and so you're not, sitting in my basement by myself watching and, chatting on Twitter or Blue Sky now with Like so much better just being amongst everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, for a long time, in Pittsburgh, obviously we're only, 5 years old, and, my pretty, standard, procedure was basically just sitting at my house and watching it, because it was really hard to, be able to, well, first, like, like, I guess like Fox had some SPFL games, and maybe ESPN for a bit. Then they had was that Bleacher Report, where you could do like the a la carte stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like trying to like get the TV on at like one of the only like soccer bars in Pittsburgh, when it was basically all EPL stuff was hard, and you just don't want to be sitting there as the only person watching a Celtic match, like being annoyed by like Spurs fans or something like that. But it was, 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 it was you know, for the big matches, I would definitely go down. But like, ever since this has started, just that, like, you're at work all week, and like, I just look forward to being able to go to Cork and be around my people and watch Celtic. And like you said, there's like just being around other Celtic supporters. There's nothing like it, and it's just not the same just sitting there like kind of watching a match and not having that camaraderie.
No, 100%. So I don't know what you guys were talking about while I was trying to deal with my power situation, but I know you talked about it before, but how did you discover Celtic? I think that's gonna be like a common question for everybody.
Right. Yeah. So kind of weirdly, I'm a huge Penguins fan. I grew up playing hockey, so like the Pens were always my number one. So the cable station that would show Penguins games back like in the 90s, for some unknown reason, they would show like, I guess, SPL games back then, like on the off hours. And I just happened to, after a Pens game or something like that, it would come on, and I'd be like, who is that team wearing the, green and white, stripes, or whatever I would call them back then, but and it kind of just drew me. And then as the years went by, like, I looked into, what Celtic was and what they were about. And I think it was really kind of hard to watch, even like into like the mid, like, or at least like I didn't know how to watch the games. I guess I wasn't like looking into it too much, but I would always keep track of what was going on. I would always buy a kit, and then once it was becoming more accessible to watch the matches, then I started watching more and more, getting into that, and then like learning about Celtic TV, however long ago, 10 years ago or whatever, was definitely a godsend, because we never had the like the Setanta like dish. There was nowhere around here that had that. So
I feel like a lot of the guys in your group probably have a kind of a similar story, and a lot of it is you probably introducing a lot of them to it, like from the sounds of the people I talk to. But like, you seemingly have a very more American group than like New York, Philly. Like, Philly's got a mix.
Right.
So there's a good amount of Scottish and Irish expats.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, Detroit, you guys got that. A lot of the Americans who discovered Celtic probably later in life and like didn't grow up with it as much as, so like, that's me and Chris.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I would say that there's like, it's probably like like 60-40, 70-30, towards like, people more like leaning towards people that just discovered Celtic in the past couple years. There are like a few guys like Eric and Joan. They drive in from Steubenville, Ohio, for every match. That's like an hour away. Brendan. I mean, there's a bunch of people that like were actual Celtic fans, but not like long time Celtic fans. But it just never materialized that we would meet. I know that for sure Eric and Joan were at Piper's Pub for the Tom Rogic Aberdeen Cup final. Okay. But it was so crowded in there with like EPL stuff, and there was actually a couple Aberdeen fans in the corner, but I never met them. Yeah. So yeah, I think the large percentage of the membership is definitely people that have heard of Celtic. I think it ranges. Some people that heard of Celtic, never really watched football, to I don't even know what football is, or I grew up playing it like when I was like 5, and that was it. Not knowing really anything about like the European, big teams and who the players are, or anything like that, or even that like Celtic was a thing. And then it really is like I always try to like kind of like distill what the secret sauce or whatever is, or that allows us to like bring in people, and those people like committing to the cause here, coming at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning to Cork Harbor and watching a football team. And I think we really try to promote like the ethos of Celtic of like a club open to all, and really like make everybody feel welcome. And even if that's their first match and they have no idea what they're getting into, and it just has really led to a really devoted and energized club, supporters club. So I like a lot of the other like bigger supporters club at Cork is Arsenal, and they'll get people. They'll get like a good amount of people in there for matches and stuff like that. But it's like basically like like these people come in, they watch the match and they leave, whereas we're singing songs and drinking pints for a couple hours after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which
awesome.
is
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like I feel like we have so many new CSCs like you in Detroit and Charleston who are like really building grassroots kind of style. Like, and it's awesome. Like I feel like more and more are going to keep popping up, and like I'd love to see it. So
yeah, I think like in relation to like the whole David Lowe comments from infamous line of the CSC, North American or CSCs in the States are like inconsequential or whatever. I mean, like I think that there's some truth to that, but that goes to I think what CSCs in North America really have to do is that if you're just relying on like people that already know about Celtic, that have moved to the States or whatever, eventually that's going to end, and trying to get people to, become a Celtic fan isn't just, it's not going to be, it can't happen just saying, oh, you got to watch this football team play on Saturday and Sunday. It has to be about more than that. So that's where like, we really try to make it more than that. And I think once people really dig into what Celtic is about, that sells it. That's a perfect sales pitch.
I think that is the perfect secret sauce, is that you can't disassociate watching a football match from the ethos of the club, because the ethos of the club is what drives people to that. It's that doing things for charity reasons, for doing things for the right reasons, and it like that, just like it pours out, and nobody really gets it until they get it and they go, oh my gosh, where has this been all my entire life?
Absolutely.
And that's what the Celtic pull, I think is, and kudos to y'all for really, I don't want to say exploiting that, but like going into it not thinking like a supporters group for Arsenal or whatever, where they just show up and watch the match and then they go home, and then they whatever, right? They have their 5 seconds on NBC, and that's it.
Mhm.
And it's Celtic is so much more than that. Celtic is much more a hands-on. You need to get in there. You need to see what this is about, and selling the ethos of the club. That's what the pool really is, I think. And you and Detroit and Charleston are perfect examples of that, where it's not like grandpa's old soccer team,
Mm-hmm.
or what, however he described it.
But I'll tell you, like, you guys being able to do that, the Fairleigh that this past year, like, that's the kind of thing I think that just is going to draw even more people probably in for you. Like you said, you got people in there who you've never seen before, and like those people are gonna, they're gonna start coming more, and they're gonna start telling their friends, and and then it becomes a thing, and you're not gonna get huge crowds, for a whatever St. Mirren match at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, but like you get a handful of guys in there, like, and you're consistent with that, and like I think that's how a CSC over here, outside of like New York City, like they're always going to get big crowds, but like you got to be, steady and like content when 5 or 6 guys shows up, and then you still make it an event. Like it's
right.
Getting to hang with your buddies, sing some songs after the match. Not gonna be as loud as singing at the Fairleigh, but like it's a thing, and
I know that, like, we're really lucky too, in that, our home base, Cork Harbor, Tanner and Maddie, the owners are unreal. Like they open for every match. Doesn't matter, weekday matches, 7 a.m. Sundays when they can't even serve alcohol until 9. It's just a perfect storm of perfectness, to be able to have like a supportive club bar, as well as a really great club membership.
Sure. What do you think about that comment from Craig there? That,
well,
like you said, I think you said, Sean, David was partially right, and that's probably one of the things he is right about. I don't know if he's got like the Celtic American fan base down as to what they're about, but in terms of that, I would agree. Like,
I mean, I think I mean, they don't do enough, like even in Glasgow. I don't think, but I mean, so like it's doesn't have the marketing power of the EPL or the Bundesliga or Serie A or any of the top 5 leagues, but I watch those games. And there's something like I don't like the NFL. Like I'm sorry if you guys do, but I just, that's like not my bag when it comes to like the glitz and glamour and the sterileness of it at times. But I think that the SPFL is really terrible at marketing the product, and I hate to say this, but like it just feels like so much in like the Scottish League, and just even in Celtic, it's like that kind of like old boys club mentality where like nobody wants progress, nobody wants change. And I think if they really had somebody like open to like new ideas for marketing and stuff like that, I think the Scottish League would like really sell itself, because they're even St. Mirren versus Livingston has some like I mean I think it's exciting, and I like the way the Scottish League plays. It's a little bit kind of rough and tumble at times, and
yeah, it's a different game.
you know,
That's like
yeah,
my brother is. I mean, he'll watch Celtic a little bit here and there. Watches more EPL, but when
yeah,
he does watch Scottish games, and particularly like when we play Rangers, he's like, it's such a frantic, like it's so much different than EPL. It's like frantic and physical, like but so it is like probably something different that people have to get used to. Like especially if you're an EPL fan and you're watching,
right,
City, Liverpool, all those teams, like
yeah,
it's an adjustment, but I mean, I don't think just for me, it's like I'll watch games because like I know the teams, I know the players, and I'm entertained by it. But
right.
I do think like it has some kind of value if it was properly marketed and
Yeah.
all, like
Yeah, I mean,
right.
and I think having like a little like Celtic and Rangers are always going to be top just from the financial standpoint, but like having the possibility that like like Hearts with Tony Bloom's investment and Hibbs with who's I think the guy from owns Bournemouth and the Vegas Golden Knights has something to do with.
Yeah, I think
And
right.
that, yeah, I mean, the more American investment, Rangers too, might push that, push that the SPFL, SFA, whatever whatever group controls it, but like they're not going to like sit back and be like, we're just going to stay stagnant for as long as we have money invested in these clubs. I think that they're going to try to really invest in making the team competitive within as much as they can within the constraints of like the monopoly that Celtic and Rangers have, but having more and I definitely am not like saying American marketing or whatever is good, but like I think it would make sense that they're going to be like, hey, we need to like get more people around the world involved, invested in this somehow.
Yeah.
And I think that's only good for Scottish football.
Agree. I mean, I think like just going back to like how I don't think Celtic promotes us like over here. Like take for example, like when we were in South Bend, and I've seen it before when we like seeing Celtic over here before. We end up playing, so we played Chelsea that day. So you go to the merch tent and it's like 80% Chelsea stuff and 20% Celtic stuff on sale. Whereas, I mean, the game, and especially the more passionate group would have been ours. And we were pretty, I would say, almost 50-50 of if you were looking at green and white shirts to blue shirts in that crowd. But I think that Celtic, they kind of have like that, a little bit of a small time, almost like inferiority complex to like, well, we're not, like, that's not our thing. Like, we're not going to sell a lot of merch over there. So, like, I don't think they really push it where, I don't know, I think they could, but
yeah,
that's one example. But I think a lot of that is, there is definitely like an inferiority thing with them towards England and those, like, bigger teams in Spain and all that stuff. Like, whereas there is a big fan base here that you can tap into, I think, if you really try to.
Well, these are all things that we've been talking about for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
give us, just have the club give us something that we as North Americans can hold on to, and we'll do the work for you. Like Celtic TV, perfect example, right? I remember the Celtic TV being absolutely terrible. It would go out middle of the match. It would come back for 5 minutes, and then it would be completely off for the rest of the match. It was awful. And one of the continual complaints was always like, well, Celtic really just don't care. They don't care. And it was like, man, I have trouble believing that. But at the same time, they have to see the value in whatever it is that they're doing. And there's always been like this give and take where it's we're reaching for free stickers from the club, right? Nothing of great importance. But if we are given a little bit, whether it's more access to merch or a better quality feed, or some of these CSCs where they may or may not be connected to the North American Federation, which that's a completely different thing where most people don't know that some of these clubs exist because they're in this old system where they're not being brought out. And if the club could just a little bit more and tap into that Irish diaspora aspect to it, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, there's no doubt that like there is definitely a kind of parochial type attitude when it comes to Scottish football, I think, and Celtic particularly, where it's almost like kind of like, I don't want to say assumed, but it is not acted on when it comes to like the Irish diaspora, just people with Irish heritage or whatever, people that are have some kind of left-leaning politics, but I know that'll never happen there, but just like again, it just comes down to marketing and like the feeling that like, okay, well, it's good enough. And, I just get that feeling, from everything that happens at the club. It's like, it's kind of like, we don't want to rock the boat. Status quo is good. Everything. And it's just like, almost like a microcosm of like how things happen in the States and how it feels where, it's kind of, I hate to use his quote again, but like, like granddad's soccer club, favorite soccer club, where it's just like, like we've always done it. We don't want any change. I think that's, kind of like that bit older kind of expat attitude here, where, Celtic is mine, it's for me only, and not, wanting to like spread the word and get people involved, because, only speaking from personal experience with our club, like it is the best feeling in the world to get somebody who has no idea what Celtic is about and get them to be a, super fan, if you will. It's a fantastic feeling, and there should be way more people that should give. Can you swear on here?
I have.
Okay. Should give a shit. Should give a shit. Should give a shit about Celtic than Crystal Palace, or whatever. I mean, not to whatever. If there's any Crystal Palace's fans watching, I'm sorry, but seriously, like there's so much more to it than with Celtic, and I just don't know how to get that across to everybody, because it once you're on the train, man, you are not getting off.
Yeah, I think like you said, I think the club is adverse to change in like many ways. And like one, like in marketing the club, but then two, same thing. It's like we're constantly like we got all this money in the bank, and we're still constantly like slow and making moves in the summer. Like wait till we qualify for the Champions League, like proper before we do anything. Like it's just like I think there's just, like you said, like just a lack of willingness to change up the way you do things, and it's
I don't
so frustrating.
I don't like to like I 90% agree with you. I do think though that when it comes to the financial status or plan for the club with the board and stuff like that, I do think that they're smart about it, because I was listening. I mean, we all remember like the days of like 3 qualifier matches, to get into the Champions League, and how crap that was, but unfortunately, because of like the coefficient stuff, we've already lost the automatic Champions League spot for next season, but like the next like couple seasons, we are. I think 20-minute Tim's like put out a interview with the guy from Scotland's coefficient, and he was explaining, what's going to happen in the next couple of years, and it is dire. So like there might not even be Champions League football at all.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and so like the financial difference between being in the Champions League and even winning the Europa League is dramatic. It's like, I think, what did Spurs get, like 30 million or something for winning the Europa League, and we got like 40 million just for getting into the knockouts. So that's a stark difference. And I always think, like, is it hard to get like really quality players to come to Scotland? That's a question I always ask myself.
I mean,
regardless of it being like Celtic and having Champions League football and stuff like that, but like, like when guys have so much choice, is Scotland, like even at Celtic, like something that like, hey, I really want to do this. I want to go play it, Falkirk, in February.
I do think you need guys who buy into it. Like we talked about last week with, I remember, and I thought about the same player when I said like there's guys who come here and think they're just going to stroll it, and he's like, and Bobby's like Joey Barton. I was like, that's exactly who I was thinking.
Yeah.
But then there's I think it is probably a different mindset to come here, because. Probably everybody's goal is to get to like the EPL or one of those big clubs, but like to play in front of 60,000 people each week, and you may not realize it at first until you get here, like that you need to win every week, or else
it's a totally different animal.
It is, and that you need to understand that at least eventually.
But you also get the people like Joe Hart that come because they want that passion. They want to be, it's unadulterated. It's raw. I mean, playing in a cold rain and Aberdeen is not fun for anybody. But like to go there and you've got the support of the traveling support behind you, and testosterone in your veins kind of stuff,
But I think that like when like Celtic fans always have that expectation that we're, because we have money, we're going to be able to bring in like this level of player, like maybe like a name player or like at least a accomplished player or whatnot. But like that, I just don't think that that's like realistic. I mean, I think that they should spend more money than they have historically, like they did last summer with like Engels and
more guys
Ida.
like Engels. Like
Yeah,
he's not
right.
he wasn't a big name before he came here, but he's
Right.
like a young, like kind of rising star in a big European league.
Right.
Like I think those are the kind of guys I would love to bring in. I don't need
Yeah, for sure.
30-year-old, former stars from Fulham or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what we need to focus on.
Right.
What did y'all think of Ross Duhan coming back?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like just a Bane replacement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although he although he did play like some games for Aberdeen, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't you get hurt against us? The one thing he got like knocked out or something. I felt.
Oh, that's right.
It was something like he was hurt. Yeah. Like he was out a couple months because of it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
hey, I'm really sorry about this, but I need to jump off for like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Somehow my battery is
okay.
Okay, I'll be right back.
We'll right back. So sorry about my little beginning of the show mishap.
Oh, well, I mean, but it wouldn't be fun without it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
so I'll take this time to thank you for the painting you sent me for the bar.
No problem.
I'll post a picture of it again online. And that's like Celtic family. That's me and you. Like,
absolutely.
Like, I love having it. And I showed you all the pics. Like my whole family got involved. Especially when I told my older son, I'm sitting down in the bar with him. I'm like, we're getting a painting tomorrow, and he's like, what? He's like, you commissioned a painting? I'm like, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, it was just commissioned.
Yeah.
It wasn't by any, it was my gift. So I know it. I know it looks good there. Where's the final placement going to be though?
I'll send a picture later. I'll show you.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. I was as soon as I saw that it had gotten to your house, I was like, whew. Because I was sweating it the whole time.
Oh. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. No worries.
Yeah,
but
so now we got to talk about our possible trip to Detroit next year for their 5th year celebration.
What's the what are the dates for that?
I think they're looking at April, but
all right. Yeah, so there's is Philly doing a Fela?
Yes, I think they are.
Okay. And
then you back with us?
Yeah. I'm back. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, I think Eddie Cantwell said that they're trying to plan one for February.
Yeah, I think because I think Sean Kelly wanted to kind of do it, but kind of take it all on and do the big thing there like you guys did. But Eddie said that they were going to be doing something. So
yeah, were you talking about New Orleans?
No, yeah, we were talking about Detroit because Sean was saying he wants to do like a Sean Kelly.
Right.
Got to be specific on Sean's and
right.
It's too many.
He wants to do a 5-year celebration for them because this next year is coming up for them. So he wants to do
that's right.
I think in April. So
in April, that'd be great.
Bailey, but I said I would try and get out there for it because I still haven't been there.
For sure. Yeah, I haven't been out there. I think Patrick from our club was at maybe where they used to be because they moved to a new place.
They moved to a new place this year.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
I wanted to ask you, Sean, and I missed it when on your at your failure this year. How did you make the Phil Murray gravesite thing happen? and I was so mad I missed it. I got hit up in traffic, and I was supposed to get there on time, but I didn't make it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think when we found there was a Scottish guy that lived in Bridgeville, where the grave is, that would come to the place that we used to get together prior to Cork Harbor, and he told us about that there's a member of the first ever Celtic team that beat Rangers, buried in Bridgeville, which is about, I don't know, like 20 minutes outside the city. And we were like, what? So we decided for the Fela that we were going to do a memorial tribute to him, go out to the grave, and Dan and some Philly boys there, Sean Farrell.
Such a great idea.
Yeah, it was
so
fantastic.
Mad I didn't get there in time. I remember because I was trying to get my wife to come out for the event, and I was like, they got like one of the guys played in the first Celtic Rangers game is buried out near Pittsburgh, and she's like, yeah, like, I mean, she's not even really a Celtic fan, but I think just like that historical fact, like, she's like, oh, that'd be so cool to see. So
right. Yeah. Yeah, so we've been in contact with his grandson, I think, great-grandson. But with Celtic Graves Society and stuff like that. So we're gonna make that a lot more of a consistent thing.
Nice. Yeah, that was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's actually kind of weird to like even think about like a guy that played for Celtic is buried, in Pittsburgh. And funny. I don't know if you watched the video. I think I put it on the. Were you on the like the Google photo dump that we all did?
Yeah, I did see it. Yep.
Yeah, because like his nephew was Philip Murray, who was the 10th Street Bridge in Pittsburgh is named after, and was also a huge he kind of like was really big into and started like the labor union movement in Pittsburgh. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm still mad I missed that thing.
We'll do it again.
Yeah.
You won't do it again entirely because I missed all of it. So
yeah. Well, we're already planning our 10th anniversary.
Cool.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
People were like, "Are you going to do this again next year?" I'm like, "Oh my god, no."
It's a year. You guys did so much.
Yeah.
Because like you guys, it was cool. I feel like when we do them, and not taking anything away from the Philly, because I always have a blast out at the plow, but you end up stuck at the plow for like 12 hours a day, and you're like feeling like I need to get out of here for a little bit. Like, but you guys mix it up where you're like, all right,
that was important for sure. And
after the Phil Murray thing, and then went
the pub crawl,
Cork Harbor after, and then then we had the match the next day, and a little bit of a break in between, and then we had I don't remember the name of the bar we were at where you were playing songs. Somebody didn't realize it because I was all the way in the back. But it was a good mix of events, like that kept you moving around at least.
Yeah. The big thing, because like so many of us in the club are musicians, so I had
that's cool,
idea to like put together a kind of like a CSC all-star band, and we have a couple guys that are in like kind of like a Irish like Gaelic like kind of trad band called Bieltano, and they opened, and then we had some of those guys, Clinton, who's one of the guys that the guy that I kind of started this with, Clinton Clegg, who's the singer for a really awesome, pretty big band in Pittsburgh called the Common Heart. He sang. We had Bob, who his and I band used to play together in like the 90s. Fantastic voice, and just a bunch of like, I got the bass player from my old band to like kind of come out of retirement and play bass on a few songs. So I mean, it was in Vince from Drada. He is the president of St. Lawrence's CSC. He was he came over for it, him and his daughter, and he played a couple songs. I mean, it was just, that was a blast.
Yeah, dude, there was a good crowd in that place.
Yeah, yeah.
What was the name of that bar again?
It's called the Pitch. The Pitch. Okay. Yeah, so that's like the other like newer kind of soccer bar. A lot of mostly like EPL. The Bayern group goes down there. That's run by our good friend Brian Muha, who was really instrumental in helping us get off the ground, like post pandemic, opening up kind of like a little bistro that we could go watch the games. But yeah, he's doing really, really great down there at the Pitch. So they're only like 3 or 4 blocks away.
Yeah,
so.
It's not far. Yeah, it was an easy walk.
Yeah,
we were kind of. I think we hit a few bars in between, so it made it a little less easy. Declan from St. Pete's was up. Oh yeah,
for that. Yeah,
he was.
It's good to meet him. He's a good guy. Yeah, Paul and Gareth from Chicago.
Dr. J.
Was Dr. J. Yeah. No, it was a good crack for sure. No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Can't wait for the next big event, wherever it is. But
right. So I've been meaning to ask: have you guys been over for a match, right?
I have not. Chris has.
I
have not.
Yeah. Funny enough, you and I went to a match at the same time, Hearts in 2018.
Oh no way! That's right.
Yeah, like we were at the same match, and
the 5-0. That was 5-0.
Yeah, and we didn't meet until in person until Philly, in 22. So
right.
But yeah, no, we were over for that match.
Yeah, Sean, you got to get over. I mean, we're lucky enough.
As Bobby says, you got to pop your cherry.
Yeah,
have to.
Well, the great thing about going over is that like you never have to worry about like not being able to hang out with people or getting tickets or whatever.
Sure,
It's like it's great.
Oh, right, yeah, I can imagine.
Celtic network. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
We're my wife and I, my wife Katrina and I are going to be over again in September. So we lucked out that they actually have a home match when we're going to be over there. So I'm looking forward to going. She's never been. Oh. That's like a cool thing, with our CSC, or at least for me, is that I have like a really, really supportive wife who I would say that she likes Celtic for sure, but she's not like doesn't have the passion that I do. But like she was like really her, and along with a couple other people in the club were really helpful with organizing the Fela and stuff. So it's nice to have that. She's like, getting up for the 7 a.m. on against Livingston on Sunday. Nope.
You're on your own, big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started trying to kind of make a little. It's not even a CSC. Like for some big matches, have some of the guys because we have a big group that lives kind of outside the city, like an hour. Like I'm an hour outside of Philly, so it takes me an hour. Hour on a good day to get to the plow.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a bunch, like 5-10 of us out here in Bucks County, and so like I'll have them over for like a lot of them don't want to go to the plow at all. And like, come over here and watch it. And like my wife thinks,
oh, that's cool.
Same. Like I have like people over at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And my neighbor's like sitting on his like my neighbor across the street from me is an asshole, to put it nicely. And he's like sits on his front step like staring at our house like as like people are rolling in at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I'm carrying like bottles of whiskey and I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think I've heard stories of your neighbor.
I haven't actually said a word to him in like 12 years. So trying to keep that streak going. Yeah. He's so called the cops on me.
Oh, geez. Chris, what's your normal strategy for match watching?
I mean, I'm at the house. I mean, I'll just say that I'm at the house. When we lived in Georgia, it was an hour and a half, depending on traffic, to get to Atlanta to watch a match. Mm. So, I'm Celtic TV at the house. I'm kind of on no man's land, if you will. There's very, very few options. Like there's probably only one decently authentic Irish pub that's in Nashville, and they're, from what I've heard, that like that's where the Man U supporters go, and I'm not interested in being a part of an EPL kind of thing. So like it's easier for me to be at the house, turn on Celtic TV, and then I'm texting with people in Glasgow and Ireland, and you Sean, and you Sean, and it can be one of those things where I'm just kind of by myself, and I'm completely fine. Or some mornings, like you were saying, having a supportive wife. She's my wife is the best as far as that goes. She's not a super fan, but she likes Celtic. I got her first kit, this past season. She got a she wanted a kit. She wanted a James Forrest kit. So
nice,
cool. So
way to go.
But yeah, no, she went with me before when we were in Glasgow, and I mean she loved it then, and it's like being kidnapped by all your family when you're over there. So I know it's I don't know. It just means a lot. So it's a supportive kind of thing more than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
No, and I'll spill the beans here. Some mornings, if it's 7 a.m. and let's say I don't want to get up at 7 a.m. because what's 7 a.m. Eastern time for for y'all, it's 6 a.m. here, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm an hour behind that. So like 6 a.m.'s a little bit tough, but like
that would be really tough.
I
can't even imagine the 4 a.m. in LA.
Oh, forget. I went. I was in Seattle back in, it was like end of 2015, 2016 maybe. And I forget which match it was, but it was a fairly big match. I don't remember if it was Champions League or something, but like the kickoff time was like 4 or 5 a.m. And I'm like, there is no way. There's no way. And that's when I discovered the cone of silence, as I call it, which is basically mute everything. No notifications of emails, text, whatever. You shut everything down. Hold on, I got a train coming.
I hear it. I got a train by my house too.
I text you almost every week, like cone ? So I know if we can talk about it. That came up here a lot. I know on like midweek Champions League games back in the day. Like, you in the cone today or watching live?
Yeah, I try.
CSC.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I have enough PTO at my job that I once the schedule comes out, I'm like, okay, leaving early.
Well, now that I work from home, like I still don't even like interrupt my work day now.
Oh no.
Like if it's something important, I would much rather have that experience where I can like give it my full attention.
Mhm.
And so like I've changed kind of how I do that, which is, if I know that I'm going to be in the cone of silence, I'll say it out up front. I'll text people and I'll be like, hey, like don't spill the beans for me. Let me enjoy this tonight, with a couple pints or whatever, and then that's what I'll do. I'll sit down, crack a beer, and then turn the match on. And then I watch it uninterrupted. And there's it's like Celtic TV works for me instead of I pay them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
bring me what I want, Celtic TV, and then I watch
Yeah.
whatever it is, and then like I just I call it a day after that. So like
Yeah.
that's a dirty secret of mine.
Cone of silence is challenging though.
Oh, it's incredibly tough
It's
if
tough.
you don't have the willpower to be like, I want to know what the score is. Like you have
Yeah.
to be like, absolutely not. I don't want to know because I don't want it to spoil my surprise. Even if we get beat, God, what was that? When Barcelona beat us like 7-0 or whatever it was,
Oh,
right? This just beat the absolute dog shit out of us.
yeah.
And I was in the cone of silence, and I remember people being like, "Hey, are you still in the cone? Are you still in the cone?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, "Well, you need to not watch this." And I'm like, "Well, you're ruining the surprise." But I watched every bit of it because I was trying to prove my point that uh, I want to dedicate that much to watching Celtic to where I don't want to know the outcome, even when I'm watching it on a delay or whatever. So, anyway,
that is extremely impressive.
well,
I haven't done it in years.
Yeah.
I remember for some of the Champions League games, I would not watch it during the day and then watch it at night at like 8 or 9 o'clock, and then live tweet it like I was watching it live, and then I wouldn't look at people who were posting. I would just tweet and then see the reactions after the game, and like those ones were like Barcelona like smacking us, and there was a couple others. You would see those first responses like, "Oh, this is not going to be this is not going to be good for you."
Yeah. PSG.
I got a friend of mine that he's from Germany. He's a big Borussia Dortmund fan, right? And he lived in Athens. He's moved back to Germany since, but we would do the same thing. I would go over to his house to watch Borussia Dortmund and the Champions League with him, and like that was one of his things was like because he was kind of high up in his company. He was just like, I can't have any distractions throughout my day. He's like, so like I have to be regimental about it. Like I have to be like, I'm not going to open my phone. I'm not going to read text. I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause me to learn the secret. But like we go over there, and matches had already been done for hours. 6, 7, 8 hours or whatever, and we watched a match together. And I'm like, this is the way to do it if you don't have another option.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. How long are we going here?
We've gone an hour and 5 minutes. So I think we're gonna start wrapping it up soon.
Okay.
All right. So what's your?
I could talk for like another hour if you want.
I'm gonna
for the upcoming season. Briefly.
I think we're going to be fine. It always depends for me, like on like who we lose in the summer, and I think if we lose, especially Maeda, it's going to be. I think there's going to be some growing pains, but I'm excited on that Swedish guy, Nygren or whatever.
Yeah, he looks good.
they're saying he's more like kind of like a midfielder than a winger, but I guess he was playing wing. But I watched some highlights. I thought he was good. If Kuhn goes, I mean, I think if we get 15 for him, that's a good deal. I mean, like I hate to say this, but like I think that as long as we don't lose a big chunk of the team this summer, I think we're gonna stroll it again. I can't see Rangers with Russell Martin, like especially the way he plays, like that's gonna fall right into our hands.
Play into our hands almost.
Yeah, right, exactly. But I mean, I think maybe Hearts will give us some trouble, and it'll be interesting to see Falkirk come up, because I really thought that they were pretty impressive on that. Was it like a Scottish Cup game, like what was that, 2 years ago? Bummer to see Livingston back, having to go to the Spaghetti Hat again, but I'm super excited. I'm excited for the preseason too. I think playing some of the teams we're playing.
Yeah, this time of year is always so rough. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it's a struggle to get through an international break, but like this, month when you have almost nothing going on gets a little boring. So, but like you said, it's going to be, there's so many what ifs, but it's hard to predict kind of what's going to happen. I think you got to see who's leaving first before you you might fill in gaps. And
there's still a long a good 2 months plus of the window being open, so anything can happen.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely excited for it.
As long as we don't leave it till August 30th.
I'm sure we'll leave some work to be done.
Something.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was good chatting with you guys. I'm sorry I had my technical difficulties at the beginning.
Glad you're sorted with the electricity.
All day. Yeah, no, I can see the lightning. There's lightning out my window here, so hopefully
be safe. Again. Be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
We'll do it again during the season. Try and get chat after games and stuff.
Sounds great. I'm in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Great seeing you guys. Really.
You two guys.
You guys see you too.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you.
Yep. Check your